How's it going, everyone? Welcome to my review of the Republic Juggernaut. Remember, if you enjoyed today's video or find it helpful for your purchasing decisions, let me know by leaving a like and hitting that subscribe button. And if you want to skip the unboxing, use the timestamps below. This set was released on August the 1st of 2025 at an original retail price of $159.99 USD. It is given set number 75413. It is rated for ages 9 and up and has 813 pieces, which gives this an original price per piece of 20 cents. This set does include 5 traditional minifigures as well as 3 battle droids. Taking a look at the back of the box, we get to see a few different things. We get a quick look at the interior, as well as some of the play features of this set. Now, opening up your box is quite an easy experience. Simply cut the 2 pieces of tape on the side of the box and pull to reveal the contents of your box. Inside of your box, you'll find this paper packet, which is the closest thing to paper bags I've ever received. You will also find a total of 6 numbered bags, 1 unnumbered bag, a relatively small sticker sheet, and lastly, your instruction manual. And here is your first look at the final product. This thing is very small. It is not a very big tank at all. But this video is to help you, the viewer, decide, is this worth $160 of your hard-earned money? But before we dive into the turbo tank, I think it's important to talk about the minifigures of this set, as that is what a lot of people are drawn to. Our first minifigure is Ki-adi-mundi. This is a returning character. The last time we saw him was in 2018, and they have improved his printing just a little bit. His Jedi robes are very well detailed on both his torso and legs, and he does have a dual-sided face print. What makes this minifigure so unique is his headpiece. Since he is a Saurian, he does have that elongated cone-like head which supports his binary brain. And the piece LEGO uses here, I think, captures the likeness of Ki-adi-mundi very well. And here is that back printing on his torso and on the back of his head. And on the top of that cone piece, you can see that they give him a top knot, which is accurate to what we see on screen. Our next minifigure is also a new and exclusive to this set so far, which is Commander Bakara. Now, this is the first time we have ever received him in LEGO form, and I think they did a phenomenal job with his new helmet mold. His torso and leg printing are fairly well detailed, while not being super different from what we would expect to see on clone armor. Here's a side profile view of what the helmet looks like, as well as what the back of the helmet looks like, and a look at the back of the torso printing. And just like Bly, this commander does not receive a unique face print. Here we have our first ever LEGO Galactic Marines, and I really like the way these guys look. I am so happy LEGO finally decided to make them. That new helmet mold is absolutely fantastic, it being dual molded, which I will show off later. It's got some very nice torso printing, and the leg printing is nice, except for the fact of no physical waistcape or comma. What are we doing here? For those of you who do not know, Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 2005 is practically the game that raised me, and the Galactic Marines were one of my favorite classes to play in this game. And as you can see here, they have a physical cloth, waistcape, or comma. And at least to me, that's a pretty big part of their overall design. So the fact that LEGO isn't willing to put cloth waistcapes on these particular minifigures, it sucks to me. Outside of that issue, this is a really good minifigure. It's got a fantastic helmet mold that looks incredible. They do give this minifigure a brick-built backpack, and underneath of that is some printing. Now, unfortunately, the backpack is another area that LEGO decided to cut corners by not giving him a printed piece for his backpack, even though there is a printed piece that still exists in sets on store shelves today. Now, underneath of that helmet is a standard issue clone head that we've received over the past few years. It is a little bit difficult to see it, but that little red line is an indicator of it being a dual molded helmet. Putting the Galactic Marine side by side with the most recent Snowtroopers, you can definitely see the difference in the overall helmet design and its execution. LEGO could have easily just done a recolor of this particular part from the Snowtrooper, but I'm glad they made a brand new part for it. There are 3 Galactic Marines in the set, but hopefully this is not their only appearance. I would love to see them in a battle pack in the future to help bring the cost of these guys down on the aftermarket. And lastly, we get 3 B1 battle droids. I didn't classify these as minifigures, and that's because LEGO doesn't either. And now it's time to talk about the clone turbo tank, or as they're now calling it, the Republic Juggernaut. So let's first start off with the features of this set. What can it do? On the rear end of the Juggernaut is a stud launcher turret. To use a stud launcher, simply push down and it fires out a stud. You also have two on the front of the turbo tank, one on each side. And these things do not work well. I kid you not, it took me nearly 50 seconds in order to get this one to work. On top of the Juggernaut at the rear end is going to be a turret that can be manned. They do include a little spot to put your minifigure. And he definitely doesn't look too bad doing it, I just wish he could actually grab the handle. Now on the front of the turbo tank, you do have what I like to call a little watchtower that you can put a minifigure on, and you can raise and lower the tower for your liking, but the tower isn't actually secured in place and it can be ripped right out. It's not super secure. Directly underneath of the watchtower is a compartment to access the primary cockpit, but you can't actually access it if you have the watchtower down, so you have to completely lift the watchtower out or just up. Now there are panels on the side of the cockpit you can open up for even more access, but I think this is more just due to how they did the shaping rather than a feature. And yes, they do include a seat for you to put your minifigure, but he cannot be wearing his backpack if you want him to be sitting down. So if you want a Galactic Marine to sit here, take off the backpack. Now, a cool thing about the cockpit is that they decided to make the window actually kind of transparent, so you can see your minifigure, but it is only in these little corners here. It is not throughout the entire window, but a dub's a dub. This is a nice little feature. You also do get a cockpit on the rear end of the turbo tank, but you don't get the same level of access with the rear panels. And just like the front cockpit, they do give you a seat inside there, but once again, you cannot have a backpack on if you want a Galactic Marine to sit there. Now towards the front, these panels here can be folded down to gain access to the interior, but they don't fold down super far, so this is about as much access that you're going to get. Now taking off a couple of panels and showing you exactly how many minifigures that you can comfortably fit inside here without it feeling too cramped, I have found the number to be around 9 minifigures, which is a bit more than what I expected it could have, but it's just a shame that LEGO doesn't actually include enough minifigures to fill this turbo tank out. It just feels a little bit cheap to me on their end. Now located over top the troop bay is this little turret that you can spin 360 degrees, but it does come disconnected incredibly easily. But otherwise it has an overall very nice design, and I love the use of the wand piece. Now, how well does the turbo tank roll? It actually rolls incredibly well, and it looks pretty good while it's doing it. My main complaint is that this thing is fragile. I'm not manhandling this. Parts are just falling off. And yeah, you can get some nice speed on this thing. I definitely had to catch this thing from falling off of my table quite a few times. I had quite a few near misses, but it was a lot of fun to roll this thing around. But unfortunately, it doesn't really drift super well. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't roll over clankers really well, but it does roll over an instruction booklet without a problem. Now, 2 instruction booklets does give it a little bit more problem, but it still gets the job done. Now, for its size, the proportions and overall design of this turbo tank do actually look quite nice. And especially for its size, I think going with brick-built wheels was definitely the right move. While its axle design looks rather boring and is relatively simple, it definitely gets the job done and allows the turbo tank to have some nice dynamic movement. Now this thing is fragile. You lift it up by the wrong thing and things are going to pop off, which is a problem because this is a playset meant to be played with by children. This thing kept breaking on me, and not only while playing, it kept breaking while I was building it. This is a problem because LEGO cannot continue to put out products that fall apart like this. Now this set doesn't include a carry handle, so say a child grabs it like this and they start carrying it back and forth, and they're just gonna drop it because it breaks instantly. Look, I'm pushing these panels in, trying to make it as secure as possible, but say you grab it from the back, it's still going to break because it falls apart. Even doing a take 2, it just fell right apart again. This thing is not well designed. I know that was a lot of footage, and I know that that was a lot of complaining, but listen, this set is $160 US. There's no way that this thing should be as fragile as it is. It's a playset for children. It should not be falling apart when you play with it. Okay, fragility aside, how does it compare next to another $160 set that's currently available for purchase on store shelves like the Imperial Star Destroyer? Firstly, the Star Destroyer is not only longer and wider, it also comes with nearly double the pieces at 1,555 pieces versus 813. Maybe pieces don't do it for you. Maybe you're a minifigure person. Would you be interested to know that the ISD also has more minifigures? Remember, LEGO doesn't count battle droids, so you only get 5 minifigures in the turbo tank versus the 7 found in the Imperial Star Destroyer, with one of them being an anniversary figure, Cal Kestis. There is no way that the ISD doesn't beat the turbo tank. But what about interior space? Sure, the turbo tank has a decent amount, but not compared to the ISD. The ISD beats it there with it being way more dynamic, having printed and stickered parts on the interior that actually make it fun to interact with. I mean, just look at the interior of the Star Destroyer and the turbo tank and you tell me which one's worth the money. Now, the turbo tank does have its fair share of stickers, and these two on the front end aren't bad. You can't really tell the color matching's a big issue. Same thing goes with the stickers on the interior of the turbo tank. These ones aren't bad either. But these stickers, yeah, they're a little rough. The color matching of the gray to the gray of the brick just isn't there, and I don't know why that LEGO hasn't fixed this problem. It's been present for years, and it's time that they fix it, especially with these prices they're charging. So what are my thoughts on the set, and is it worth the $160 US? No, it is not worth the $160 US, and not a single one of you watching should pay that ridiculous price point. I am not usually one to complain about minifigure quality, but the Galactic Marines are just not up to standard for me. The amount of minifigures we get isn't up to the standard for me either. The downsizing in this set is absolutely insane. It makes this set incredibly cramped and very difficult to actually play with. Add on top of that the fragility issues of this set. This set falls apart while you're building it, and it falls apart while you're playing with it. This is a terrible set with a terrible value. I don't typically say things like this, but this set is a joke. The fact that LEGO thinks they can charge $160 is a joke. Do not support this. I know some of you out there are saying, I want the minifigures in this set. Please, just buy them on the secondary market. Don't give LEGO an excuse to do things like this again. I personally feel ashamed that I paid the $160 price tag for this, but I wanted to make a video for you guys. I give this set a 4 out of 10. This set is massively disappointing, especially for it being my first turbo tank. But that's all I have to say on this set. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. I hope it informed you on how terrible of a set this is, and please do not pay these prices for them. I also hope you enjoyed hearing me crash out over a LEGO set. Remember to like and subscribe if you either enjoyed or found it helpful. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Join the Discord, I'd love to chat with you. And until next time, stay bricked up and enjoy what you love, and boycott these prices.